Hello everyone, I am Ananya Jha from Team Espousal. Eid Mubarak to you all. And we are here on our third and final day of Espousal International. The last 2 days have been great fun and there's been a lot of learning involved. We've had some amazing speakers who came in and shared their expertise on some very interesting topics. I want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of this event. And a special thanks to our partners, Tales, The Trait, David of Cigars, and Shangri-La Group of Hotels. I hope that everybody at the event is having an awesome time. We have some amazing businesses who've put up their stalls, so be sure to check those out. We also have a gaming zone, which has some super fun games. You can check that out as well. And to remember this memorable experience here at Espousal International, you can go to our photo op and click some pictures. Today's keynote address was given by the great Rituraj Khanna from Q Events, where he talked about the importance of conventions and conferences like the one we are at right now, Espousal International. And now, moving on to our first session of the day, we have the top women from the world of digital media who will be talking about wedding blogging. We have with us Rhiannon Downie from Dubai. She is the founder and editor-in-chief of Bride Club Me. Rhiannon has been a part of Espousal from day one, and it is so special to have her with us for our international version. Next, we have Shafonne Myers from California. She is the CEO of Isle Society, which is a collective of top wedding bloggers who have come together to curate wedding content for couples across the world. And finally, we have Shravana Sachdeva from India. Shravana is an experienced designer, wedding influencer, and a bride consultant. She is the founder of Witty Vows, an online wedding portal that reaches over 16 million people every month. Rhiannon will also be moderating this session. So, all the best to this panel, and over to you, Rhiannon. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Hi, ladies. Do we have Alice? Is Alison joining us today or not? I don't think so. Okay.
I don't think
okay, so Eid Mubarak to everybody who's celebrating, and we hope you're having a wonderful long weekend. Today, I am joined by my esteemed panel members, and we are going to be talking about all things wedding media, wedding blogging, and hopefully give you some nuggets of wisdom as well for those tuning in. So I'm going to start with our first question, which is, ladies, how has the last few years personally impacted your businesses, your blogging platforms? How have you managed to strike that balance between providing value and content while navigating this crazy crisis yourself to ensure your businesses are still managing to function? Who would like to start?
I'll go first.
Shafonne, go.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Sorry it's so dark here. It's literally 1 a.m. for me. So, I think with me, because Our Society is a collective of 28 wedding blogs, and of those 28 wedding blogs, I own 8 of them. So throughout the pandemic, we kind of were trying to stay open and give as much inspiration just because of the nature of not having a lot of positivity to share. So we didn't get as many weddings in for submissions, but we still tried to make sure that all the publications, we could put out some type of content, whether it's just how to be grateful, how to be abundant, how to just be healthy mentally, spiritually, physically. And I think that was something that we, and I say we as in me being the CEO, like I was passionate about, because we were still an outlet. We were still a way for inspiration to be shared with the world. And that was something that I was truly passionate about throughout everything.
Amazing. And Shravana?
So I completely agree with Shafonne there. One of the things that even when I was discussing with Arvind in our little Instagram chat is the scenario is a little different when it comes to weddings in India, because the whole blogging space is relatively new here compared to, outside. So it was very interesting as an opportunity for us to present ourselves to our audience and be there to navigate them emotionally not just with respect to getting vendors or getting the right kind of team together, but literally hand-holding them, because, in India, the wedding is something that not just the bride, but her entire family starts dreaming of from the moment this girl is born. They start saving for it. They start imagining how they want to do this big affair. It's grand for them, no matter what their financial status. So, imagine all of that comes to a halt. So you really need, a confidant, someone who you relate to, a platform that speaks to you, understands your emotions, and you feel you're not alone. Whether it's the brides that connect with us along with the specific girl logging in, or whether it's our team talking to them, they really need to feel that empathy. They need to feel that support. And that's what we focused on, along with, I think, all fellow bloggers who really feel passionately about the cause. We gave them avenues to focus on, whether it was mental well-being, whether it was just getting ready for whenever the day comes in. Another very important aspect that Rhiannon, we kind of focused on was helping them navigate their contracts. Their vendors were canceling left, right, and center. How do you manage and mitigate the loss? That's some advice that was very, very important for a time like this. And that also became a little bit of a USP for us, because we're the only platform that hails from the industry, because, I've had a lot of experience working weddings alongside. So that helps understanding how do vendors function, what can you get back, how much of deposits, because all of this is also very alien territory for weddings in India. So that is what we were focusing on at this specific time. And, luckily for us, again, a change in India was people were starting to focus content online. They were looking at online to share their weddings. They had time to finally go through those albums, shortlist pictures, which are thousands of pictures from the wedding, and they would come and submit it. So we were very content rich at the time, and we were smart to understand that trend and open a new vertical of business from that trend, which was how to organize and how to sort of present your social media at, during, and after your wedding. So that was us during the pandemic.
Yeah, I would say very much the same here in the UAE as well. Like a mix of, both of what you said. There was a lot of emotional support, not just for the brides and grooms, but also for the vendors. A lot of tears. A lot of confusion, a lot of pivoting, looking at other ways to generate income, not only for them, but also for our platform as well. And, we noticed that sponsored content changed a little bit. I was speaking to wedding insurers. I was speaking to people who were suddenly designing bridal masks, and, everything kind of shifted a little bit. And I finally learned how to use Zoom as well, which was, it's still there, look at us, we're all online. So, we did miss those physical events, but like you said, very much emotionally present. And I'm sure both of you showed your face a lot more as well. And, Okay, thank you so much for that insight. So as a middlewoman, and a mediator between both industry and the engaged couples, what made you decide to focus purely online as opposed to the print route? And do you think there is still a market for the print industry, actual physical magazines? Would you like to start, Shafonne?
This is a good one. And I think it's interesting because, so for me, being the CEO of Our Society, we're strictly online, but I'm also the founder of Pretty Pear Bride. And we had a print magazine at one point in time. And so we do exclusively the only site in the world for plus size brides. And so we actually, during the pandemic, we kept getting asked, hey, are you coming back to print? Are you coming back to print? Yeah. And it was one of those ones where like, we're not sure, we don't know. But I think overall, what has happened is there's just an insurgence of just wanting more. That is wanting more online, wanting more in print. But I will say that the ease of getting that inspiration content does come with being online. And I think if we're quicker, we can get out content quicker. Correct. We can get out information quicker. Like we don't have to wait and be like, okay, well, that won't publish for another 6 months when we're looking at print. So I think that's the difference with it. And like I said, I see it from both sides because with Our Society, we're strictly online with all of our publications. But when I look at having had a print magazine, people are asking. People are kind of still wanting to be able to touch and feel and flip through an actual magazine. But I think that the online is going to explode because it's quicker. It allows us to be quicker with the information as opposed to print. So I don't think it's going to go away, but I do think there's going to be, and we've seen it. We've seen a lot of print magazines go to strictly being online, going to cutting down their publications to being one a year. So that's a testament of them seeing the drive for online, because it just, you can do it quicker, less overhead. It's a lot of reasons why. So I don't think it's going to go away, but I do think it's going to be a migration to a lot more online though, for sure.
100%. Shravana?
I completely agree with what Shafonne's saying, because, she is right. Online is so much more dynamic. It's so much quicker. Imagine the amount of content you can cover online in a month vis-a-vis what you put together, the amount of work that goes into just making one edition, and you're barely covering what you want to cover, right? So it's just so much more information in such smaller capsules, which is perfect for the consumer right now. Especially in, again, I would keep panning back to Indian weddings, because that's something that we deal with most. So earlier on, it was your exposure is limited to, let's say, weddings of your friends, family, relatives. You've just seen your sister, your cousin, your friends, whatever, and that's all that you know. Perhaps a magazine which would cover celebrities, and that's all. And now with online coming in, the same bride now sees on an average, let's say 200 weddings a month. And real weddings is where the real inspiration lies. So the more real weddings you see, the more you feel confident that you can pull it off, the more resources you know where to pull it off. And that kind of power you can't hand down as quickly in print media. I agree that it's not going to go anywhere, perhaps a power issue or an addition. Also, I feel print media is probably a very good tool for B2B communication, because I think that's where there's more stability, right? That this vendor is here to stay, that this professional matches chords with you. This is what they provide, and they will evolve their services in the same domain. So it's a great tool for businesses to connect, versus I feel online is better for couples to constantly source information. And also it's where they share their stuff. So it's only fair that they consume it more there. So that's what I see.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And I think there's an evolution as well from digital into other arenas. I don't know if your companies are also exploring kind of 360, now there's a lot of events, a lot of face-to-face meetups, networking, B2B, B2C, social media campaigns. It's far beyond just our online platforms. Although I think, what benefits us is we have our own domains. We're not just,
we own it, and that's what I always
we own it, and this is what I keep telling
so much.
I consult for a lot of wedding professionals as well, and they're like, I don't need a website, I've got a really good,
I have my social.
What if you get hacked? What if and we've seen it happen, right? Have your own platform always. You own it. You do not own Instagram. You don't own Pinterest. So,
I think the biggest thing that when you just said that is that, and it never becomes an issue until the social platforms go down. When the social platforms go down, everyone's like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, we're good, because we own our domain, as well as we have an email list, as well as we have and I think that's when people realize it. But oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said it, because especially
and
in
it's
the
important
industry,
for
they just
us
don't
as
think
well.
about it.
Yeah, it's important for us to evolve as well, because we've got to be everything. We can't just rely on our platforms either, I'm especially here in the UAE, people love the face-to-face events, the meetups now that we can do it. So we're very much focused on that, and we have a concierge element, where they want to speak to somebody as well and not just look online. So we're constantly evolving as entrepreneurs as well. We're not just wedding bloggers, there's so much to what we do. And listen, guys, those tuning in, you are able to ask questions at any point in the Q&A section. I will be checking in on regularly. We can answer them at the end or as we go. Okay, next question. So with the landscape of digital media moving so rapidly and social media being a key place for brides to search for information, inspiration, how do you compete to have those eyeballs still on your platforms? Competition is heavy, I guess, as well. Lots of people in this kind of industry, some who've tried, some who've failed. You know, it's a lot of hard work. But how do you stay relevant? How do you keep the eyeballs on your platform? Who wants to go? Do you want to start, Shravana?
Sure.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Shafonne. Yeah.
Shafonne's like, yeah, okay. No, so coming back to actually what you said about owning your own platforms, that's a very important part of this entire eyeball game, I believe, because and you've got to understand that these are all marketing tools that you're working with. So it's the marketing tools where you're competing with people, and at the end of the day, you've got your own space where you have a dedicated consumer base, firstly, that is relevant to your data, and your data is relevant to them. So that's a very important established fact that you have to continue working with. Secondly, you've got to evolve to your audience always. You've got to understand that you can't keep delivering the same kind of content over and over again. You've got to change what you're delivering. You've got to change how you're delivering it and make it snackable for the time that they're taking it, right? Another thing that we did very early on is we stopped measuring. I mean, even though my introduction from the platform said so-and-so views and eyeballs, what we really measure is conversation. Right? Because eyeballs is not doing much for us. It's the conversations that does everything. How many people have come out to talk to us? How many people have come out to consult with us? How many people want to know things from us? How many people want to take conversations offline? That is the real measure of our success, even though it's across all our platforms, whether it's social, whether it's our domain, whether it's, you know, anything that we're conducting. It's all about getting the human conversation sparked and taking it from there. So, and I'm sure all of you also understand this with your businesses. You've got to know which platform is good for what, right? So Instagram is a discovery tool via browsing. So people are not exactly there to really get vendors, really get specifics. It's Pinterest where they go to get specifics. So you tailor your content according to the platform. You see where short form works, where long form works, where what is relevant right now. And that's where you get ahead of the game. And that's what we've done so far. And we've always kept our voice alive. So that's something that I would really tell people to do. You have to keep your voice original and alive, because there's so many, you know, at least here in the last few years, we've had the rise of wedding pages, which is just Instagram channels throwing content left, right, and center without permissions.
They drive me mad. They drive me mad.
It's horrible. It's horrible for you. It's horrible for the couples. It's horrible for the vendors. There's no attribution whatsoever. But, you know, you have to follow your voice and your standards and your way of working. And you have to be the one to create a set pattern for the industry, even if there isn't one. So that is very important in keeping the right kind of audience attached to you versus, I would say, eyeballs. So that's what I would say.
I would agree. Shafonne?
I love how you touched on two things that really, and that's why I love when we come together in these like settings like this, because we're always saying similar things and then bouncing off each other. Number one, about keeping your voice alive. I am a huge proponent of being a personal brand. As a business, a blogger, as vendors, you have to be a personal brand. That is what's going to set you apart from anyone else, because most people in our industry have not gathered this concept that people buy from people. People buy based on feelings, and I can't get a feeling if I don't even know who you are. And I think that's why we've really all been able to kind of step forward, because we have put ourselves forward as a personal brand. This is a true company. I am the CEO. I'm the founder. I run it. If you have a question, you can talk to me. It's not like you said, this Instagram blanket where you have no idea who the person is. You're sending stuff in. They're just regurgitating what they've seen. So I loved how you said that. The other thing that we have really found, both in Pretty Pear Bride and in Our Society, is we data mine our data all the time. We're always looking at, okay, what's working well, what's not working well, because that drives us to see what does our audience want. Because at the end of the day, we're here to solve problems. Like, that is point blank what we're here to do. I'm here to solve a problem, and that's how I'm able to make money. That's how I'm able to help my vendors market to solve a problem. And you can't know what your problem is if you're not looking at the data. So we are always looking at things of what does one on the site, what does one on social, what socials do well. So I loved how you were talking about that, because that's exactly how we do. We are always digging in and creating more in what is working so that we help everyone, our clients, our vendors, ourselves. That's how this whole circle really works, by knowing what to do, and you do it from data.
100%. I agree with both of what you're saying. And it's, you know, I'm sure we've all had our ups and downs in our businesses. And at one point, I think it was 2016, I noticed a bit of a decline in numbers and just, I don't know, it just generally felt a bit lackluster, you know, and I felt like I was just posting for the sake of posting as well. And I'd lost my heart, you know, in the business. And like you said, I went out and I asked the brides and the vendors, what do you want? What's missing? What do you need? And that's where we launched the concierge, the Bride Club concierge, because people felt that they wanted to speak to and see a human being as well. They didn't just want to go online. So we launched the new concept of the concierge in the UAE. And then referrals, you know, Facebook groups. I don't know if Facebook groups are big in India or America, bridal Facebook groups.
Yep, they are.
But I'm sure you ladies are constantly being tagged as the wedding lady. This person, Shafonne knows this. I'm sure Shravana will know this. You know, and you just have like a troop of people out there working for you, not even paying them. You know, but that's because you built a name for yourself and people respect you, and as well as your platform, but they respect you 100%. And I think that's what sets people apart as well from competition that are just maybe, you know, there's no soul to what they do.
Yes. Oh, I love that. There's no soul.
There's no soul. There's no heartbeats.
Yes. Yes.
Look, we've got a couple of questions coming in. So while we're in the kind of digital realm, so someone's got a question. I think it's for you, Shravana, or everyone can answer it. What are plans for the metaverse going ahead? Ooh. Have you ladies explored the metaverse for your platforms?
I have not. I'm going to be completely honest. We have not even broached it yet.
We're still getting over this pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, no, so I mean, very honestly, people did explore concepts of how to take your wedding to a different platform when the pandemic was in its peak and intimate weddings were happening, but no one's really been able to tap in on the experiential quotient the way it should be. So till that is taken care of, I don't think you really can. And like we've been constantly reiterating, all three of us, the human element is really important in our businesses. So I'm just not sure if we can deliver that through the metaverse experience just yet. So no, we haven't.
I totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah.
I agree as well. I mean, weddings are very personal, touchy-feely, human connection. You know, that's what people crave. I might explore it more for B2B, maybe online kind of come into the metaverse, let's talk weddings and things like that. But I'm not quite sure if brides are going to be up for this.
Correct. And also,
let's see. We could be wrong. We could be wrong.
I mean, I also feel that there's a massive aspect of habit creation which is involved in this, because you have a set way of, attending a wedding or of communicating, especially when it comes to the brides and the clients that we have. So if you have to teach someone in such a small period of time how to really go about it, and also how to achieve what they need to with already so much pressure about the wedding, it's very hard to make that work, right? So for example, the one thing that we did launch was like a social media assist service, wherein our team identified the fact that now suddenly it's acceptable for Indian brides to put their content online, and they really want to extend that moment of feeling special from the wedding to like after they want to stretch it, and we want to assist in that. So what we do is we use existing tools and we help them with that. We help them anchor their social media. We help them draft the social media. We really don't. I really don't think that if I tell them, use a certain specific tool, learn it, go ahead with it, it just seems like too much of a hassle, for a couple to go through.
That's really interesting. And so is that for the vendors or is that for the couples?
We actually do it for the couples. So we come in as a service right from the minute that the wedding is fixed. And we come in not just to assist in the vendor segment, we actually do their complete social media, we design everything, we're handling it while the wedding is happening, and we create an interesting kind of interaction for the guests while the wedding is happening, as long as
that's amazing.
That's a big thing with
massive part, right? So we're doing that. And this is absolutely new domain, because earlier on in India, it was there was so much tradition involved that it was so unacceptable to like share your wedding with the world, because you know your elders would be like, what are you doing? How is this out there? But that's really changed. It's really changed.
I love that. Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Okay, right. So what impact do you feel wedding blogging wedding blogging and online wedding media has made on the industry as a whole?
Oh, I think for me, specifically where I come from and my thought behind it, we are setting the industry standard the way that I feel. So when I look at me creating the only site in the world for plus size brides, me creating a media company, it's crazy. Like having a media company where we have so many verticals that are LGBT plus Q, that are ones that are in different localities, so that you can see mountain weddings, Southwest weddings, Brooklyn brides. Like that for me is, I feel like I'm setting the standard of this is how the wedding industry should be. Everybody, all shades. And I think that is the impact that, at least for me, that I want to have, to where you can see couples and brides of all shapes and sizes, all ethnicities, all like everything, just see it all. That's what I want my impact to be. And that's why I do what I do, just so people can see it. It's not just one size fits all. It's all different types of weddings and couples and everything. That's my impact I want to make.
I love that.
Yeah. So I think, like I was saying, for us, it's firstly, blogging as a concept was really looked down upon when it started here. So it's very interesting that you mentioned the impact that you do, because it has come its way up to sort of setting the precedent, right? So, you know, when I quit my career as a wedding designer and I said, I want to do, you know, I want to work online and I want to set these trends online and map things and work with my skills as forecaster and, you know, to kind of map a couple's requirements to a content online. Everyone just looked at me like, dude, you have a well-paying job. You're a professional. What are you doing? But from there to here, we actually do sit on, you know, quite the top of the curve and tell people that, you know, this is the trend. We're literally forecasting what's going to happen. We're telling you what is changing, where it's changing. We're working with couples who are at the top of the adoption curve. So it's really interesting what's going on there. And that's a beautiful impact. Another is the way people are sharing their weddings later, because, you know, it's like everyone feels that they're celebrities for that moment and it just moves on. So I love being able to give that to couples. It's a very powerful feeling that you're attributing to couples. Right. So that's also there. And I think in our industry, that shift from just being a grand wedding to being a stunning wedding, no matter what size, but personal. That's an impact that I think blogging has brought to the Indian wedding industry. We were always big, fat Indian weddings. But now, even if we're not big, we're not fat, we're beautifully personal, you know, and that's an impact that I sort of wanted to do when I stepped into this sphere. I really wanted to be able to tell couples that, you know, you don't need to break your bank to have a wedding that your guests will remember. You need to just map X that you would like to have. They'll remember those. You need to make this your wedding and not your parents, not your grandparents. You need to understand that. And that has really, really come a long way in our industry now. So it's beautiful how things are moving in this direction.
I think we've made a massive, massive difference to the wedding industry. I think we've created a lot of the wedding industry, if I'm honest.
Yes,
you know?
Yes, I agree.
Honestly, when I started here in the UAE, there was nothing. And I started with a blog called Expat Bride. And it was just for the expats, you know, because the Emirati local Arab brides here, they don't really use platforms like ours. It's all who their cousin uses, their friends.
Correct.
It's very family, very personal. And so I found all these hidden gems in Dubai and I was like, people need to know about this. And then it was just a hobby. And then my boss at the time was like, let's start a wedding magazine. And I was like, no, it needs to be online. And then I started Bride Club and it just grew and grew. And we've helped, especially with destination weddings into the UAE, 100% market destination weddings into the UAE. And one of our biggest audiences are Indian brides who are planning weddings into the UAE as well. So, you know, I think we've got, you know, we should be given a round of applause. We get given a hard time sometimes.
I agree.
it, given, and I do understand that we also are partially responsible for piling on a bit of pressure for having, you know, the perfect the wedding and things like that. But I always try and balance that out with content by reminding brides it's your wedding.
Yes.
It's your person. You know, you don't have to have a picture perfect Instagram wedding. If you want to have a rock and roll bride wedding, you can have a rock and roll bride wedding. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what makes us unique as well, is that we've all got our niches, and we have, like, I'll go back to we have soul. We're personable, you know?
Yeah.
All
our blogs have sort of disrupted the monopoly, right? I mean, there was a monopoly of old vendors, which have completely dissipated because we brought new people onto the horizon, and that works very well for the millennial audience. So
I had an article on my website written by my nan, and she's 91, and she was talking about weddings back in her days and weddings now. And she was like, I would have loved to have had a wedding planner. We never had such a thing as a wedding planner. You know, it's fascinating. I'll send you girls the link. It's really
I want to see it.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. Right. So, have you noticed a shift in what couples are looking for these days, especially with, you know, everything that's gone on, everything that's happening? What's been searched for the most? What information do they need? Has things changed slightly? Shafonne, do you want to start?
I would say 100%, because couples now, like, it's no tradition. Like, tradition is gone. It's like what they would have been told to do before. Oh, I'm going to do the total opposite of that now. And literally, I'm just like, okay, sure. And I used to be a planner, so I bring a planner brain to a lot of things. But they're like, oh no, we're not doing it that way anymore. Oh no, we're not doing that. Oh, they say I can't wear that type of dress. Oh, I'm going to wear that dress. That's the one I'm going to do, or do that. And I think that has 100% come from this whole pandemic time of when they couldn't do anything. And when everything came to a halt. And they're like, when we're planning now, we're doing what we want to do. We're doing it the way we want to. And I don't want to say all the tradition is gone, because you will, of course, have those couples that want still traditional. But I think the mainstream now is like, no, we're doing it our way. We had to wait, or we had to have this period where we didn't know what we were going to do. We're doing it our way now. So totally the personalization stuff is coming in and really just throwing tradition out the door.
Okay. Well, I'm sure tradition plays a big part in India still.
That's what I was going to say. I know that's what I'm seeing. No.
Yeah, in the US,
I actually agree a lot. It does pay a lot of, it does take a lot of space in a couple's mind when they're doing it. But they're really breaking away from that even now, because the trends are, I mean, back in the day, if you go and, tell my mom that, you enter dancing for your bridal entry, and, we'll join in with you, and your friends will come and bring you in, you should just be like, what rubbish? My brothers are supposed to walk by my side and take me under this, fabric sort of a thing. But now brides are searching for that. They're searching for special ways of creating moments and creating anchors for their wedding. Details which speak volumes about their identity as a couple, because I feel that's what couples are doing. When they get married now, they're aware that they're creating a new identity, which, what is their wedding hashtag, is their whatever new couple name, or however you want to place it. But they're very aware of the first foundation stone being set at this wedding. And they really take a lot of care in detail. So that's a massive, massive change in what they're searching for. They're searching details. They're not searching big elements. They're searching minute things that set them apart. They're searching of things that would be talking points, conversation points for way after, as well as speak volumes about themselves. And also a huge segment, I would say, in India at least, is searching for the lack of a better word, virality through their weddings. They are searching to be out there. So they do go out. Yes, and they really
TikTok
go out of
moments.
Correct. I mean, we're also to party to that to quite a large extent, but we do our it tastefully to their personality. But there's a lot of couples who are using the wedding as a moment to get fame, and then propel that into a blogging business further for themselves.
Yes,
it's really something.
Yeah.
You know, that's really a trend
it's a
that's
big
there.
thing with the Indian market. I've noticed
Yeah.
that specifically. I have a
So
marriage proposal
there's
company
so
on the side
many
as well.
bloggers who've come out from their wedding because, you know, I guess it's fair enough. You have a photographer, you have a makeup artist, you have the outfits, you're on top of your game. So let's extend that. And it has sustained for so many people. It's not even funny. So that's what people are looking for, how to sustain that fame from the wedding in whichever form possible. So that's the
That
trend.
is interesting. Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh. Well, I've noticed that, especially here in the UAE, you know, you would never get an Emirati local bride getting married. You know, they always get married in a grand ballroom. And now we've got people, you know, locals, especially getting married in like warehouses, you know, and like having neon lights and like all this crazy stuff. And these are the local Emirati women and couples. And then the expatriates, we've got people wanting to get married in a helipad on the Burj Al Arab, you know, or have the big wheel lit up with their names, you know, as they're getting married. And it's just crazy. But people are looking for more alternative venues is what I've noticed. Alternative venues, and they want more open spaces and private exclusive areas is what they're looking for more. And wedding planners are in high demand now, that's for sure.
Well, because they can't do that type of stuff on their own. You know, like, and I think create those type of environments on their own. So
I've got some questions coming in. I've noticed we've got 5 minutes, so we've got to keep our answers a bit shorter this time for the last few questions. So we've got a question for all of us. Since we're all entrepreneurs, I think we should leave. I'll tell you what, that question, you know, how we started our businesses, I think we should leave that. Message all of us individually on our Instagram, and we can have a chat and kind of talk to you about how we got into this industry, if you like, plantables. Okay, as sounding boards for the wedding industry, and for people to kind of promote their services, venues, and so forth, what advice do you have for vendors and venues when it comes to their messaging and their marketing in today's current climate?
Ooh, this is a good
one. I know. Meaty one. Try and keep it short and precise. Go.
Okay. I would say always infuse yourself. Remember, you are solving a problem. If you don't think that you're solving a problem, you don't have a business. So you have to keep it in the mindset of you're solving a problem and infusing yourself. How do you solve that problem? How does your business solve that problem? That's where your messaging starts and should always be.
100%. Shravana?
So I would say that I think businesses here need to invest in creating content, right? So you can't grab the eyeballs of an audience with ancient content, which is really not relevant right now. So be relevant, invest in this area of creating marketable content. If you don't have one, you will not be able to market yourself with ancient content. So that's very important. And also, just like it's true for all of us, please stay true to your voice. Do not just follow what's working. What works for you is what works for you.
Yeah. Mine would be have a 360-degree approach. Marketing is 360. It's not one thing or the other. You've got to have an all-round marketing strategy, social, referrals, networking, your own website, etc. You can speak to all of us, reach out to all of us. I'm sure we offer consulting on the side if anyone wants any help, if you're a vendor. Okay, so to round up, what do you think the future holds for wedding media platforms and websites like ours? Where do we fit in? And what role do we play in the wedding industry moving forward? Shafonne.
We're not going away. We are taking over the world. We are dominant, but I mean, we really are, because we are the original content creators. We are the original influencers. So we're not going away. We're just going to be here. We're just going to get bigger. But I think what's going to happen is we're going to start partnering more. We're going to start partnering more because people are seeing us as these influencers, thought leaders in the industry. So partner with us, talk to us, befriend us, get to know us, because we can help on all fronts of what you're looking for.
We can help you, venues and vendors as well. Work with us. Don't work against us. We can help you.
Yes.
Don't try and do what we do either. Let us do that. Go on.
So I think where the future is headed is that we're also going to all reiterate and kind of reinvent ourselves from just online platforms to service providers offline as well. The combination is where the future is headed, because I don't know what it is, but that's just the demand, and that's also how we better offer our services as we kind of make more of it. So that is definitely something that's going to happen. And like Shafonne said, we're not going anywhere. We're the reason why, there is a bride today having a wedding, an Indian wedding in the Alps, in a white outfit with a whale, and is not in her traditional red sitting in a banquet hall. We're also the reason why someone else is having a beautiful intimate wedding in her mother's sari. And it's just as gorgeous and just as relevant, not because she doesn't have the resource, but because she chose to do that. So we're the bridge that sort of tailors everything to you. We tell you that this is the fabric to use, this is the measurement, this is where you source it from. So the future is very much potent for all of us, and it's as custom as it gets.
I love that.
Yeah, I think a lot of wedding bloggers, a lot of wedding media kind of gave up during the pandemic. I noticed that. I'm sure you did, Shafonne, like sold up, gave up. It was hard. We were kind of like the forgotten ones. The brides were talked about, the vendors were talked about, and then there was us in the middle trying to help everyone when we were sinking and struggling and trying to swim ourselves. And we've come through it, girls. We've come through it. We're not going anywhere. It's time to innovate. There's so much more to come from us. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have one more question we might be able to get in. This is for you, Shravana. How do you think event apps play a role in concert and sport events? Will it be easy or will it be difficult? It's random.
Okay. Okay, so I can actually answer that because I have done a lot of large format events earlier. So I do feel that this is really specific to the kind of event that you're talking about. What is the audience that you're dealing with? What is the kind of space that this is taking place? Is it as in a public event? All of this really matters. What is the audience comfortable with this as a mode? Like I said, there's a very steep learning curve in apps that are external. How user-friendly is this interface that you're creating? And is it, most importantly, solving any purpose that our existing social does not? That's something that people usually forget. I'm not going to download an app when I already have an Instagram, I already have a Facebook. I have a plethora of things to showcase myself. I'm only going to download it if it solves a specific need for me. So I'm happy to take a look at this. I don't know who this is from, but maybe you could send me the app. I can have a look at it and see how relevant it is and be more specific in my answer. It's a good space. You can look into it, but you have to solve a need. Without that, the product's not going to
100%. Right, ladies, if people want to connect with you after this, please do speak and let us know what your Instagram handles are.
Mine's just my name. That's Shafonne Myers, and that can get to any of my other platforms, but I always send people there. It's the easiest.
Okay.
I go by Miss Witty Vows. It's something that I did when I was really young, and I still stick with it. One married with a baby later. But,
Excellent. And mine is at Rio Captures, and the same as Shafonne, you'll see all my other platforms there as well. Okay, ladies, thank you so much, and let's connect offline.
Oh, yeah.
Looking forward. Thank you so much, Rhiannon.
Bye.
Thank you, ladies, for a wonderful session. Alison Kirk from Weddings and Functions from South Africa unfortunately could not be a part of this session, but she has shared a video with us, so let's take a look at it. Thanks.
Hello everybody, my name is Alison Kirk and I am from Wedding and Functions South Africa. I help wedding and event companies get brand awareness, credibility and leads to increase their sales. I don't put weddings together, but I work with the different service providers. So I'm here to chat about the wedding trends for 2022. The popular Netflix series of Bridgerton has inspired a lot of brides to put a more vintage styled wedding. So when it comes to dresses, we're looking at high-waisted, those puffy sleeves, plenty of bows are what we're seeing for 2022. Also dresses with lots of volume, full tiered tulle skirts with corset bodices. We're also seeing a mix of old and new with those beautiful elbow length gloves, the birdcage veils that cover part of the face and tiaras. The Pantone colors you're seeing for 2022 are your periwinkle blue with violet and red undertones. And we're also seeing a lot of embellishments of pearls on your engagement ring, on accessories, shoes. Pearls are timeless. Your micro weddings are still popular, leading towards a more small and intimate wedding. Although having been isolated for so long, couples are also looking to have a large celebration. Your weekday weddings are becoming a popular trend since COVID's many weddings have had to have been postponed, and as a result the venues are fully booked for the weekend. Many venues and wedding suppliers are becoming very aware of the environment, and you're seeing a lot more eco-friendly options when it comes to decor, transportation, fashion, and stationery. You're seeing a lot of recycling going on. Then when it comes to catering, your food stations and food trucks are still very popular, with food being cooked on the spot while you wait. It lends for a more relaxed and casual atmosphere. Then your forest weddings in a magical woodland setting or at a game lodge are still very much on trend, as well as destination weddings, where it really is, where they book the whole venue out. It creates an experience for the wedding party. And then your smaller statement wedding cakes, we're seeing a lot of that, as well as individually plated cakes are a popular trend. But then if you're going to go for a really large wedding, you can't go wrong with those multi-layered extravagant cakes. That's also definitely still a way to go. But at the end of the day, it is still your wedding, and you no longer have to stick to all the traditions. You can be as creative and individual as you like. So thanks for listening. That's Alison from Wedding and Function, and please go check out our website. It's weddingandfunction.co.za.
That was great. Thank you so much to Rhiannon, Shafonne, Shravana, and Alison.